Murphy's Law says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. The biggest part of being ready for anything that comes your way is to make sure that you prepared yourself and your kit before you need it. In this video, I'm going to show you my everyday carry fire kit. This kit includes modern ignition sources as well as man-made tenders, and this is going to allow you to start a fire in a variety of conditions under any circumstances. And when it comes to everyday carry kits, they need to be small, they need to be lightweight, and they need to be packable. And most of all, they need to be carried every day, everywhere you go. And for something as critical to your survival as fire is, they also need to be as diverse and as redundant as possible. You should never go out and count on one way to start a fire and count on that working in every condition under every circumstance. Having a small pouch with a lot of diverse carrying options, like being able to attach it to your belt, being able to attach it to your gear, being able to stow it in your pocket, or being able to put it in a backpack, will help ensure that no matter what you plan on doing that day, you'll always have this with you. For most people, modern ignition sources are going to be the way to go. You should never plan on and you should never count on primitive techniques when your life is on the line. You always want to use the easiest and most reliable method for starting your fire. Every kit should include 3 methods of starting a fire: open flame, spark, and solar. Since open flame is the easiest and most reliable method for starting your fire, I like to carry 2 different sources for that. I like to carry a lighter, and I like to carry waterproof, windproof, stormproof matches. A normal Bic lighter is all you really need, and I keep mine in a case to protect it, but these don't really work all that well in windy or stormy or rainy conditions, so that's why I think it's also necessary to carry survival matches that are windproof and stormproof and waterproof as a backup to this. And when it comes to choosing survival matches, it's best to choose the most durable, meaning a wooden match versus a paper match, and the longest burning. The second modern ignition source is a spark. And one of the simplest, most durable, most efficient, and most reliable ways of creating a spark is with the ferrocerium rod. Now, you have no way of predicting how long you're going to be in a survival situation. You have no way of knowing how long you're going to be dealing with that bug out scenario. Eventually, your resources are going to run out. Your lighter's going to run dry, or you're going to break it, or you're going to lose it. Your matches are going to be gone, and your ferrocerium rod will eventually run out. So that brings me to my third method of modern ignition sources, which is solar. Anytime I can, anytime the sun's out, I'm going to use the sun to ignite my fire, and I'm going to save my other resources for a rainy day. Even though I know that in most environments, if I have the time and I have the energy, I'm going to be able to find dry natural tinder in almost any environment. But if I find myself in a situation where I'm injured and I can't move, or I'm confined to a room in an urban area, I'm going to be limited to what's immediately around me, and that may not include dry natural tinder. So because of that, I always carry at least a couple of different sources of man-made tinder with me to use. So the 4 that I like to carry are Tinder Quick fire tabs, wet fire tinders, which are basically solid fuel cubes, a little chunk of fat wood, and a couple of beeswax birthday candles. These Tinder Quick fire tabs are basically braided and woven and tightly compacted cotton that are treated so that they're waterproof and extremely flammable. These have a burn time of anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. The wet fire tinders are a solid fuel cube, and these have a burn time of about 7 minutes. Both of these tinders work really well when wet. This is just a piece of fat wood, and fat wood, if you've ever looked for it, sometimes it takes a little time to find it, and it takes a little bit of effort to harvest it. So anytime I find this, I like to keep a cube of it in my fire kit so that if I'm ever injured or I'm in an area that doesn't really have any, I still have this. This is an extremely valuable wet weather tinder as well. And lastly, I carry a couple of beeswax birthday candles. What I use these primarily for is a lighter extender. If I've got some sketchy, or moist tinder that I'm not sure is going to light right away, I don't like to use my lighter for more than a few seconds at a time. So what I can do is I can take a couple seconds of fuel to light this candle, and then I can use this candle to light the tinder. So these are basically more a lighter extender than anything else. Now, a couple of other essential items that I keep in my kits are a tin and a mesh bag. The reason I keep this tin is my first fire is going to be probably the most difficult and probably the most critical. I can use this tin to char material, and that'll make my next fire and every fire after that much easier. And a couple reasons that I carry this mesh bag. One, I can use it as I'm walking along the trail to fill with natural tinder as I find it, so that I don't have to dip into my resources when I get to where I'm going. But also so that I can take things that used to be stored inside my tin, I can place those inside there and keep from losing those, so that I can use my tin for charring. Now this entire kit weighs 7.5 ounces. That's less than half a pound that could save your life one day. But the key to an everyday carry kit is that you have to carry it with you every place that you go, every day. And you also have to know how to use everything inside this kit. This isn't a break glass in case of emergency kind of thing. You need to practice using these things at every opportunity. Murphy's Law says that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Prepare yourself now and don't let Murphy catch you with your proverbial pants down. Stay alive.